This podcast is brought to you by Colonial Brewing Co., the legendary beer company brewed right here in Port Melbourne or in Margaret River.
The best brewery in Australia, mate.
100%, without even a doubt.
Unbiased opinion.
Biased and unbiased, I don't care. We got a whole new wall of them sitting next to me right now.
Yes.
Thank you for sponsoring the podcast and enjoy this one on them.
For those of you who may not know,
It's pros and cons time.
Mr. Smith?
Hey, who's that?
David Zakapakarakis.
Wrong.
How the bloody hell do you say that?
Pros and cons.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Pros and the Cons. We've started out hot, David.
We have, yes.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. We've got our guest in studio today from the beginning of our podcast because it's a special ep today. Want to welcome Ryan Shotton to the podcast, mate.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Melbourne Victory star, just recently started.
Yeah, you could
playing.
say star. I'm not sure at the moment.
I'd say Star. I go to a few of the games and I'd say Star. But you only recently just came as of a couple of months ago, wasn't it?
Yes, joined in January. After quarantine and all of that, and literally chucked straight in as soon as I could, really.
How was that journey coming so quickly straight in from the UK, straight into Melbourne, and then, obviously playing in a season which hasn't been that great so far, but just talk us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, I mean, back in England, it was one of them where the season had started back in August and I'd not really fancied anything and nothing had come up that I really wanted to get my whole heart and soul into. So I just waited and got a phone call, and I'd had interest from different countries and this and that. And I said, "Nah, listen, you're wasting my time." So I said to the gentleman that got in touch, he went, "Right, I've got Australia." I went, "No disrespect. I've had a lot of people wasting my time." I said, "Go and get something and then come back to us and then we'll talk."
Yep.
Within 24 hours, he's like, "Right, I've got Grant Brebner, I've got Drew on the phone. They want to take you to Melbourne Victory." I went, "Let's go." Don't need to tell me anything else. I'm coming.
So why Australia? What was the calling card? Was it just because the team wanted you to come here, or did you look at an opportunity to get overseas and play something different?
It was the team that first sold it to me. I knew three of the lads that signed as well, the two British lads and Rudiger Stead. I'd played with all three of them.
Yep.
So that would have helped, settle in. But I was told that, we were going to be competing and we got a good squad, which we have.
Yep.
It just hasn't come together. That's the only issue at the moment.
Yes.
So you come December last year, 2020. December 2020 you came to Melbourne?
I landed in Sydney for Christmas.
Wow. Like that's mid-COVID, traveling like alone is weird, let alone moving, I guess, picking up your whole family, moving here.
Yes, wife and two children.
That's obviously a big move to make. What was your feeling around doing that in that period of time?
It was something that we just said, right, well, I said to the wife, right, you don't have to come. She'd just started up a business during lockdown and it was going well. Children weren't in school, so it wasn't really an issue for them. It was a matter of, do you want to come or not? I said, it's the other side of the world. It's 6 months. I'd love you to come. She went, yeah, I'll come. And then it was a matter of getting everything Christmas and New Year. We knew we were going to be in quarantine over New Year and Christmas. So we just packed, we must have had 8 suitcases full of presents and clothes and stuff for the kids. And we just went, right, let's go. We're pretty laid back family. So we just went, you know what, let's roll with it and see what happens. It's nothing that you have to get worked up about and stuff like that. So I just went, you know what, let's do it. Let's try it.
Yep.
Well, one of the reasons we've got you on straight away in the pod, no intro for us, just straight in, is because we've organised an episode with the creative entourage, Doug Ellin, who's going to zoom in at in the next couple of minutes. Yep. In fact, I think he's already waiting. And funnily enough, we've had Doug on before, and you're an Entourage fan?
Massive.
Yeah,
Yes.
Awesome. So Melbourne Victory connection being that Doug, after we had him on the podcast, not long after, started a podcast with Kevin Connolly, Kevin Dillon, who play Ian Drama on the show, called Victory the Podcast. Yep. Victory, Melbourne Victory.
Yep.
So
there's a little connection there.
So we thought it would be a funny little connection and to come on and I guess surprise him. Funny thing is, I don't think he knows it's it's us that's going to be on. And I
Again.
think they said to us, well, I think they said, oh, he'll love it. He's going to we'll surprise him. He'll love to see you guys. I'm like, I don't think he's going to know who the fuck we are.
Do you reckon he remember us?
Well, this is going to be the
that text him on Instagram last night.
Can't wait to speak to you.
Like,
I was hoping
you know us.
I was hoping they would have. So we're setting up in the next couple of minutes to get Doug on. So the guys are going crazy in the background, getting it all set up. So we're going to chat to him about, he's got a new show coming out that he's writing with Thierry Henry.
Yep.
So, and it's a show about, I guess, his career or his life going into playing football. I don't really know. We'll have to ask Doug. But I think there's a lot of relevance, obviously. So I think it would be worth having a chat. While the guys are sorting the screens out, tell us a little bit. Have you gone to any? Have you seen any footy yet? Any?
No.
AFL?
No, unfortunately, I haven't.
We're gonna have to get him to. We're gonna have to get him to a game.
Yeah.
Did you know about it before you came down to Australia?
We knew there was Aussie rules, it was called, and we didn't really know anything about it. I've tried to get into it. It just looks like absolute chaos at the minute. It's like, right, off you go, catch the ball and get it in.
That's the one thing everyone says, that it's chaotic, but it's organised chaos.
Yeah, I can imagine you'll know more than me.
Yeah, there's structure to it, but we'll have to get you to game. At some stage.
All right,
are we getting on?
We're going to pause for a minute, and when we come back for the listeners, we'll have Doug on.
What's happening, guys?
Doug, now, are we recording, guys? All right, we're on. Now, we were told we're the surprise for you, and now we've both said, I don't know if Doug's going to remember who the fuck we are. So we had you on last year during COVID. The Australian,
I remember.
Yeah, good. Okay.
How old do you think I am?
No. I mean, like a year ago during COVID, we're in Zach's theater room, and it was mid-COVID, and I don't know, it was like 45 minutes and a year ago. So who knows what you remember, huh?
You guys were like my first podcast.
Yeah,
we were. Actually,
I mean, I barely started mine, right? I mean, I don't even know if I did yet.
No, you hadn't, and I wanna. We're going to put our hands up and say that we hope we pushed you along into doing it.
You did. You definitely helped. I mean, I never thought about it a couple of years ago. So,
and since then, now you've been on Australian TV and you've been everywhere. So we'll take the credit for that too.
Take it all. Yeah, just keep spreading the word,
Now, Doug, we've got a special guest on our show as well. He's coming in to co-host, Ryan Shotton. He plays for the Melbourne Victory
nice.
in the A-League. He also is from the UK, has a big football background in the UK, and there's obviously a lot of connections to talk about because you have day ones that you're working on with Thierry Henry at the moment, and we have a soccer superstar here who's played in how many teams you played for, Ryan?
4 back in the UK.
Yeah.
So it was good time.
Nice. I bet it was. So how you guys doing? What's good? Is it lockdown's over? Everybody's good or what?
Oh yeah, we're pretty COVID free at the moment, which is good in the whole country. Few little snap lockdowns here and there, but mostly it's free. So we're now in a studio here, as you can see. We're properly set up here. Not at my home, which we were, but pretty good. How you going over there?
I mean, I got my first shot a week ago. Yep. I mean, the California numbers are really low, but there's some other states that are bad, and then I guess this vaccine they're just not going to keep giving people, I guess, for a little bit, the Johnson & Johnson. So I don't know. It's we're better than most places though. Europe seems to be a mess, it seems. So
yes, but at least with your podcast, you're shooting at the studio, aren't you? You're getting out of the house and.
That's the only time, and I play pickleball and I do the podcast. That's it. I mean, it's the only time I leave the house. But now I'm 2 weeks away from getting the second shot, so I'm ready for that.
You know what's funny as well, Doug? I listened back to the episode we had you on yesterday just to catch up and see what I missed, because I probably missed asking a million questions back then. And you actually said that you'd shaved for the first time because you had a pitch the following Thursday. Right. And my question is, was it the pitch for this show you're doing, day ones?
I'm sure. It's the only show I've really been working on. So, yeah, I'm trying to remember timelines. It's amazing. It's actually depressing to think it's like a year ago because I thought we were going to be shooting already. But Yeah, we got Matthew Vaughn supposed to direct the pilot, who did Kingsman and produced Snatch and Layer Cake and stuff. And yeah, we got a Zoom next week with Thierry and Matthew to kind of figure out where we are, because we've kind of been in a holding pattern, with everything frozen. So, we were starting to cast and get into everything, and then we kind of just put everything on pause. So
I think we're one of the only countries that is really easy to shoot in. Everyone's moved here from LA and is shooting all the movies here in Sydney and in Melbourne at the moment, because we're pretty much COVID free here.
Well, I don't know if I told you. I've been trying to get there. I'm not joking, for 40 years. Maybe I told you on the last podcast, but my brother lived there for 2 years. For whatever reason, I've got a lot of good friends here from Australia. It has always been this place. And right before COVID, I was going to come. I wanted to see the Australian Open, which my buddy was playing in, and it didn't happen. So,
well, we got so are you a big football fan? And also, like, it's a different world in the UK, as Ryan knows, like being in that hub and what Thierry went through to go through, because I'm assuming the show is going to be loosely based on what he went through.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm learning, as quickly as I can, but 8 years ago, whatever it was, Thierry was in the Entourage movie, and him and his manager, who's my buddy Darren Dean, were like, you got to do something set in the world of Premier football. There's nothing like it. And, I definitely took my time, and Ted Lasso came on, which is definitely a different tone than what we're going for, but a good show. But, I've looked into it, and I have some friends in the world, and I'm excited about it now. I think it really is the fandom is so fucking crazy, and it's nothing like we see in United States sports, or even close, so it could be a lot of fun.
Well, we got Ryan here, so if you have any questions for him, he's lived it as well, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know what questions I have off the top of my head, but all of it is, what we want to deal with. We want to deal with more serious stuff. Some of the stuff Thierry's gone through with the racism that goes on in there, which, in the US, as bad as the fucking world is right now, I mean, if you did some of the stuff that goes on in football stadiums here, your life would be over. That would be the end of your career, and that would be the end of your, everything. But so to hear some of the stuff Thierry went through, and still this show is going to lean towards comedy, but we want to get into some of the realities of those situations and what it's like, for players of color to go into some of these places and deal with this stuff. So I think it'll all be cool, but I'm sure you got a lot of stuff that you can talk about with all of that stuff. But as we get further along, our first thing is I got to find the guy. We started casting, and like when I cast Entourage, casting a young Thierry is not easy. Someone who can play and act and look good at the same time is not easy. So,
Ryan, did you obviously speaking about that? And Thierry's got, I think he came out a couple of weeks ago, saying that he's not going to get back on social until there's accountability for racism. Have you obviously you've lived that,
yes,
that over
massively.
there?
It's very relevant at the minute as well. I remember a case. You're so right, Doug, that the accountability that people have, just because they're in a stand and they can shout whatever they want at you and then leave and think it's okay, and then get on the social media and send you whatever. It blows my mind that nobody really pushes to do anything about it. There was a case I got monkey chants sent behind me. I was taking a throw and monkey chants behind me, and the actual referee noticed it because I heard it. I thought, well, they're not going to do anything, so I didn't even report it. The referee came up to me after the end of the game and he went, "Did you hear them chants?" I went, yeah. What do you want me to do about it? Because you're not going to do anything. The police can do what they want, but they're never going to do anything.
What country is that?
This was in the UK.
It's honestly, when I saw some of that stuff, I could not believe it. Yeah. I really couldn't. It's and the teams here, which, listen, this country's fucked, as you guys all know what's going on here. But the sports leagues have certainly gotten behind the fact that this stuff is not tolerated. I mean, you're not walking into a stadium and yelling racist shit at anybody. You'll never walk into that stadium again. So at least that's one good place that's kind of safe. But it's obviously we know it's crazy and sad that this stuff still goes on, and when they're looking, when you're thinking these people are fans of the sport and the greatest athletes in the world and that they act like that, it's unfucking real. But so, and again, I don't even want to get too serious because the show's going to be light and fun, but we are going to get a little deeper than maybe Entourage did with some of that stuff because Thierry's experiences, deal with a lot of that. So,
yeah. So I was just about to ask that. So it will be a lighthearted comedic show, but you do want to touch on the human connection with that racism side of football and just show that connection with people and what actually happens in that space.
Yeah, well, I just think the football, over there is, the fans are fucking crazy. And, here, yeah, of course, like you have a bad game, bad things happen. But, Thierry was telling me stories about, they show up at your house when you have a bad game and, they'll threaten you. And obviously, I watched the 2 Escobars, which I know that was Colombia, but to see like a player get killed, whether it was directly related to the game or not, it certainly seemed like it was. It's scary. And I think the football fans, those, the working class fans, they invest so much of their lives into it. And I think they express a lot of their angers that happen in their own lives and they bring them onto the field, which sucks because sports is supposed to be this kind of refuge from all the garbage that's going on in your life. But at the same time, what's happening here now is all the athletes are really speaking out, where for a long time, people criticize someone like Michael Jordan that he didn't really get involved in that stuff. And he does have this platform. And now these guys' platform's enormous. And I don't think they can ignore it,
Yep, definitely. Let's talk about the show a little bit. So you're having a Zoom meeting next week. Filming's been on hold. Do you have any idea of any timelines of when production might start and then, hopefully when we can see it on our screens?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I thought we were going to be shooting already, but by the way, we haven't casted. It was, like I said, it was tricky. I was excited to start getting going casting. And then when you try to find that guy, I forgot, people don't realize how hard it was to find Vince, like to find a guy that feels like a movie star that isn't a movie star. And a lot of people underrated how good Adrian was at because, especially when the show first started, people thought it was a documentary. They're like, who is this guy? Why have I never seen him before? And who are these friends of his, And that's the kind of vibe that I want. And, we've all seen those sports movies and shows where people look like they've never, been on a field before. It's important to us that we really make it authentic as possible. And, like I did with Hollywood on Entourage, I really want to dive into the Premier League. So I've got, Thierry's manager who's been around the sport, and his father was, I don't know if he owned Arsenal or whatever, but he was a big person in the sport forever. And, I've really am diving into understanding it. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. Do you let's talk about Entourage really quickly, the podcast, the Victory, the podcast.
Yeah. All three of us are big fans of that, by the way.
Obviously, we're all up to date listening every week.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Tomorrow's going to be good. Tomorrow we got Charlie Sheen.
Oh, back again, yeah.
We've got 2 of the biggest TikTok stars in the world who are taking over the world, and them explaining to Charlie what it is that they do, and the confusion on Charlie Sheen's face trying to comprehend what the hell is happening is pretty wild.
We were talking about Charlie Sheen episode the other day. Like, that was an amazing episode. We were the Mighty Ducks is the new show has been released on Disney Plus here in Australia, and we were speaking to some people and they wanted to get some Disney Plus. Mighty Ducks stars on, and we said, well, can we get Emilio Estevez on, and then maybe we'll be in line with the Charlie Sheen close enough. But no, I don't think we can land Emilio at this point. But that was an amazing app. What was it like having Charlie in the room?
And it's awesome. I've actually got lunch with him tomorrow because I'm trying to figure out a TV show with him. But I actually didn't want to go. Someone called me up and said, you want to meet Charlie Sheen? And he had pretty public problems, a few years back. And I was like, what am I going to meet him for? And I spoke to Kevin Dillon, who did Platoon with him. And I spoke to a couple of other people, and they were like, Charlie Sheen is one of the greatest guys in the business. And we've become friends in the month that I know him. And, kind of a lesson of what drugs can do to you, because he's a great guy and he's ready to work. And I think he's going to make a great comeback. So we got a couple ideas we're kicking around, and, Kevin Dillon's off doing a movie. So I called up Charlie. I said, Charlie, maybe this is crazy. You did the podcast, which it wasn't that easy to get him to do it. He's like, I'm not into that stuff. And I convinced him. So I called him a week later. I said, Charlie, I mean, this might be weird, but these two TikTok stars, they got 200 million followers. I'm sure your daughter loves them. Mine does. You want to come in and hear about this? And he was just like, yeah, I do. And he was great. So, and tomorrow we're going to have a little breakfast, and hopefully I can figure out something because I think he's such a super talent. And, people forget he was one of the biggest movie stars in the world before he became, the biggest TV star in the world. So I think he's going to have a good year.
I think I was going to say, I think what I took, you saw him for, I don't know how many seasons he did, 2.5 Men, 10 or more, or whatever it was. And you kind of forget, and then you have all that crazy stuff that he went through, and you forget that, how good he was. And he was so intelligent on the show. I don't know, when I walked away from that, I was like, damn, there's some amazing stories. And he's so in touch, I guess, with his thought process in the industry and everything, and the art form, and you kind of forget that he's like this incredible actor and actually probably a good dude by the sounds of it.
Great. And wait to hear him tomorrow, because he never watched Entourage before this podcast. So from the time he left, which was, 2 weeks ago, he watched all 96 episodes in the movie. And season 7 of Entourage, which some people criticized, they thought it was too dark, whatever. I try to get a little more dramatic with Vince getting into drugs, but it was inspired by Charlie. And I didn't know Charlie, but what I was reading about him is what made me write that season. So, I'm asking him, you'll hear tomorrow when I'm talking, when he said Chuck Sheen, what did you think about that? And he really gives some incredibly eloquent answers, and really why the show spoke to him so much, because he really did feel how realistic it was. And that's what I'm hoping that you guys will get if I end up doing this football show, that I want the people who know what the real deal is to go, that is what it is, and that's how it is. And that's what excites me about it. And Hollywood is obviously a world I've been in for 30 years, and I knew it. So getting into this football world is obviously a little trickier. And everyone that I'm working with on that is in London. I haven't even met any of these people. Obviously Thierry and Darren I know, but I haven't met any of the people I'm working with yet. We've been on Zoom, so it's very strange,
Yes. So I want to delve into the success of the podcast. Now, you only started it about 12 months ago, and already I've seen worldwide you guys are ranked one of the top podcasts in the world. Has that now rebirthed your we listen to it every single week about you talking about the reboot of potential Entourage and your dislike for a certain company. But were you surprised by the success that you've had in the year with this podcast and how much it has grown?
I mean, surprised is not even the word, because, Entourage, when it was on Australia, you guys have been so good to us forever, which is great, and which is why I need to be there. But this country turned on Entourage like we were the racists running around saying nasty shit. I mean, it really got ugly to the point of a show that was nominated every year for an Emmy and this and that was all of a sudden every article shows off the air for years. And I would wake up and have a Google alert telling me how much I suck. And it was, it gets depressing, you're like, leave me alone. I'm not even involved with this anymore, So when Kevin Connolly asked me to do it, I was like, I don't want to talk about Entourage, and I don't think anybody really cares to hear about Entourage, but let's see what happens and we'll go. And the way that the tide has turned and the positivity now about the show has just, it's really been awesome. And, for me, I'm getting older now. You guys are young. And my kids, one of the things, all I wanted when I was starting in this business, when I had kids, was I want my kids to think I'm cool. And they were too young when the show was really big. And by the time they got older, it was kind of vanished. And the podcast is really rejuvenated. And all my kids' friends are watching it. I know what's happening with HBO Max because I see it. I mean, you guys hear it on the podcast. Yeah. We were hidden in good architecture shows or some weird shit like that. And now we're coming back. So of course it's gratifying. And more importantly though, what the show was about, which was friendship, is what we had on the set with most of us. The large amount of people that I worked with that I'm still very close with after 20 years is not very common for, Hollywood TV shows and things like that. So when we get together and we bring in the other guys as well, it's been awesome. And now that we're kind of branching out from Entourage, which I like also, but bringing in athletes, Andrew Whitworth from the Rams was on, and we talk about, his friendships, and Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. So, it's really exciting to me. And I actually realize how much I love doing this. So I wish I did it 20 years ago instead of sitting in my house writing by myself all the time,
Yeah. Last time you were on, we asked about the reboot because I think the only person that was talking about it was Jeremy Piven at the time. People were asking him, and he was like, I'd love to do it if it happened. And you were always just, and to us, you said, no, it's not going to happen. I'm not interested. And now, as we've listened to your podcast since it started, and then now the evolution of you changing 3 million people, by the way, you guys cracked in downloads, which is insane. Yeah. Like there's obviously still life in that show, and it's rebirthed it. It's obviously what the podcast itself has helped drive people to watch it. It's on binge here in Australia, which is HBO's version here. Yep. And it's the first thing that pops up.
So you're up the top.
You're all right here. People like you here for some reason.
So awesome. I mean, listen, it's like if you're an athlete, if you're not scoring and everybody's yelling you suck all the time, do you really want to get back on the field? Is that like exciting? So, for a while it was like, I would walk into rooms to pitch shows, which, for years in Hollywood, people were going like, oh, we need Entourage set here. We need Entourage set there. Then all of a sudden Entourage became this boys club. And the truth is we had a ton of great female characters. And I think, as you guys know, the show was not like quite as sexual and vulgar as people like to remember it. I mean, there's a lot less nudity in Entourage than there is in Game of Thrones, and we just got this kind of bad rap. So of course it's not an enjoyable thing to kind of deal with, but I do feel that's turned. And I feel like the podcast, they're really getting to see the behind the scenes of me, Connolly and Dillon, and that we really are like these good friends that I was writing about. And those are the same relationships I have with my friends from the time, which, those are my real day ones, are the guys I've been friends with since I'm 8 years old. And that's kind of the same themes I want to deal with in day ones, but it still will be a very different kind of show. But
yeah, I love how you spoke about the connection between, and you're a big family, and you can easily see that in the way that when Rex Lee and Jeremy Piven come on. I love the St. Paddy's Day episode. You guys they were wasted in that, and you can just tell it's a brotherhood. But I really want to know is Kevin Dillon, even though he's one of your best mates, really that hard to communicate with via text? And do you still have to go through his agent?
I mean, Kevin Dillon is one of the best people I know, and I do love him for the fact that he's not a guy attached to his phone. He won't look at it for days at a time, but we sent him off with a expensive microphone to go make this movie, and we're doing a podcast, and we expect him to call in and say, hey, when are we doing this? But he goes MIA and vanishes, which it works for the podcast. And he's the type of guy you just can't get mad at, because I know if I saw him, he'd be like, I don't know, I forgot. But he's a great person, and, a friend for 20 years. But yeah, like you guys know, when you're doing a thing like this, you want your guy to show up, and he's our big dog. He's the star face that people want to hear, and he's funny as hell, but he'll be back. But, yesterday, he puts up a picture from the set of Entourage with Julian Edelman, who just retired from the NFL, and Gronkowski, and he doesn't tag the podcast. So, I from the podcast page, I'm like, hello, where do you think this fucking came from? But he writes oops. And, there's all the stuff we do on the podcast, all the fighting we do, it's all, it's all brother shit. It's like, we get mad for 5 minutes and then it's over,
Yeah. Was the cameo he performed the other day legit in him thinking that he did not know?
Yeah, did we find out? So for people who haven't listened, you should catch up to Victory podcast. But they Kevin Connolly. It was a happy birthday, by the way, Doug.
Thank you.
You got a cameo from Dillon, Kevin Dillon, as your present from Kevin Connolly.
So I look, it's a show and it's content. What is real is that we could not get in touch with him. What he obviously knew it was us, and then he obviously did read the text because I sent him, pretend you have no idea this is us. And you see what a good actor he is, because everyone, I mean, Connolly was like, no one is going to buy this. I'm like, I buy it. I believe it, because I wasn't sure if he actually read my message. But yeah, he knows, and he's, one of the geniuses. And I mean this. Kevin Dillon is a fucking genius. I knew it the first time he walked into audition for me. People go, oh, he's not acting. That's just him. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to play it, and he's a great performer. And but he never responded to the text. I said, pretend you don't know us, but I know that he was playing a bit,
Well, Zach,
but actually he didn't call me for my birthday in reality. So I was
he's on set with Frank Grillo, who we just had on a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, you did? Yeah. I love
Frank's,
Frank Grillo and Bruce Willis, and he's having a great time. He's completely forgotten about us. So, well,
Zach is out Kevin Dillon on the podcast. I think he just rocks up. Everything's done for him.
Yeah,
and we need to make sure or make sure Zach is happy.
I've done some work lately.
It's so funny. Well, you'll laugh tomorrow when Charlie shows up, and we're just like I don't know if you guys know the football references, but Drew Bledsoe. Do you guys know about this?
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, Drew Bledsoe got hurt. Tom Brady took over, and he never came back. So we got Charlie Sheen sitting in for Dillon, and that's how we start. We're like, I don't know if he's ever getting his starting job back. So
we did that. We had Gary V on the podcast once, and Zach couldn't come, and so we had his ex-captain who won the basically the MVP of the league one season, one of the greatest players of all time, come in and sit for Zaka, and we said that we think
he lasted one episode, mate. That was it.
That might have been more about me than it was about you.
I love it.
Well, you mentioned day ones being or Entourage obviously has that family and friends who are family theme, and saying that you want to bring that across. Is the day ones being the theme as is kind of your entourage, right? The people who you had since the beginning, that follow you through your career.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. But everyone wants to go, oh, it's the same show. But, it's like The Office is not the same show as Cheers, even though they take place in a work environment. So this will be a very different show with female characters, and Thierry, as, some of his background will be infused into it. So it'll have a very different feel. But hopefully, I mean, what excites me about it is it's just a much bigger world than the Hollywood world. So to take a group of friends and put them in that mayhem, I think will be really fun.
Yeah, awesome.
So Ryan, I just want to ask you quickly. So we're talking about the UK and the soccer and the crazy fans and all that. Have you noticed a difference between playing in the UK and playing in Australia, between the fans or the environment or anything like that?
I think there's a lot of, the European way of supporting the teams over here in Australia. I mean, I sat there on last week and saw the fans behind the stand, and they were going absolutely crazy. They didn't care what the score was. We were losing 3-0. They were just going crazy.
Happy to be there.
Jumping up. Yeah, and that's what it was. It was just an atmosphere that, they're there to support the players and hope they win, but it's not the be all and end all of the result. In England, if you don't win, the whole weekend's ruined for the whole family. The dad will go home. Dad'll go home, and it's absolutely crazy. And I always say that in England, football is their number one religion. The family support the same team through generations, and then if you don't support that same team that your grandfather did, then you're like the Black Cat family. You're a shambles. Get out, and that's what I've not seen it here, and obviously it's still young. 15 years or whatever, the league. So I think if that goes the way it is in England, then the support will carry on and be as good as it is, and I love it.
And in terms of your day ones, you started at Stoke, right? And
right,
you grew up.
I'm from there.
You're from there.
I've played, yes.
And so, do you have that day one guys that were with you from the start? I would imagine if you went from growing up there, playing there, and then playing professionally there, that you would have had these people that you grew up with.
Yes, I mean, in football, I haven't got my day ones. There's probably 2 that still play. But I've got my day one friends from school that have come through, everything with me, success and downfalls and everything. So I think that goes as well, because as much as you can get swum away from, the football world, and you go to your football friends all the time, you still have to have the friends away from football. And that's important to keep you grounded and make sure that they realize that, you are still who you are and where you came from and keep you grounded. So I've got a bit of both, which is quite nice.
The real question is, are they waking up at 4 a.m. to watch you play live in the UK to Australia?
One of them is. Not many of them.
You got to get rid of the others.
Well, we're lucky that you mentioned it briefly just then, Doug, but we are lucky to have fans in the stadiums. I think when you look at the rest of the world and they can't do it, I think the UFC is going to have fans next week, or maybe not this week, the week after, but we've been able to have fans in the stadium. You only moved, we mentioned it earlier on the podcast, you only moved here in December. Yes. Did you play over there with no fans?
Yes, it was the most surreal thing ever, because every game felt like a friendly match where nothing really mattered. And it was crazy to switch your mind to go, right, this is actually a competition still. We used to 20, 30,000 fans cheering you on and giving you that extra 5%. You haven't got that. So you've got to find the motivation within you to drive yourself and realize that this is still very important. And that was where it was very difficult to do.
Yeah, I bet.
Coming over here is just, made me realize that why I got into it, and it's for the fans now.
Yeah. Well, you did as well, right? You play with no fans?
Yeah, we played last year when we were speaking to Doug. Last year we played in front of an empty 100,000 seat stadium 5 weeks in a row. So it was quite bad. And then now we're playing in front of 75,000 again. So it's quite amazing. And you realise the difference between, like, you're right, you realise you play for the fans and the atmosphere that you thrive off. It is a completely different feeling.
Do you think, I don't think they could make an AFL Day One show yet. I don't know if it's something in that or not.
I don't know. Well, Doug can come over to Australia and can
maybe Doug can tell us.
You know what, though? What it is, again, like the Premier League is going to be, a great backdrop. But what it is it's just this group, this family. And, if you find those people, we all know that crew that we want to watch. And that's really the key, is to find the characters, no matter what the setting is. Yep. The Premier League gives it that extra jolt, but we got to find those guys, those Johnny Dramas that you want to hang around with all day and look forward to seeing. So that'll be the challenge, more than getting, I think, the football correct, because I got enough people, on board that know football like the back of their hand who will help me. And, I wrote a script, basically as if I was an English writer. And I've been to London 11 days in my life. So, that was interesting and fun. And me trying to, while I'm sitting here during COVID, and I've always been a fan of British comedy and all of Matthew's stuff. So I'm watching Snatch and I'm watching this, and I'm talking to them where the dialects have changed. Like some of that stuff that they would speak like in Snatch isn't really even relevant anymore. So that was fun. And I think, they were pretty impressed that I got close, but I got some British writers to sit down with me and look at terms, things that I'm like, what the fuck is that word? What are you talking about? So, but that's also been fun for me,
Yeah, cool. We're gonna go into our segment really quick. Do we have a intro lined up, guys? Or I don't think I told them to do that.
Do we have a segment?
This is what happens, Doug. Intro. I mean, you're used to this now. Doug, tell us quickly while they're setting this up. But what has it been like for you to actually be in the booth and have to ask the questions, like us sitting here like idiots, listening and then going, I have to ask a question.
In the booth is amazing, but it's a professional show, but the disorganization that we have is mind-boggling. I mean, we get Charlie Sheen to come in. There's no one who greets him, and he parks in this garage across the street. We hang out till 8:00 at night. We all get in our cars and leave. All of a sudden, Charlie's calling me. The garage closed. He's stuck an hour from his house and has to take an Uber. And I'm saying to Connolly, I'm like, Connolly, we got to be professional. Charlie Sheen walks in here. We got to, make sure his car is taken care of. So it kind of adds to the comedy of the show, but we're doing it. It's so kind of low rent while it's growing into this kind of big thing, which still makes it fun. But, and the guests, which you guys, I mean, I'm going to have to call you guys for guests, because even Gary V, who I know, I don't like to ask people for shit. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
this David. He's got the blue. He's got the blue check.
I'm going to have to hit you guys up. But I'm reluctant to hit people up,
Yeah. I want to know, how much have you paid for parking out the front of that show? Have you added it all up?
Well, I mean, It actually is crazy. Beverly Hills is like, it's like $4 an hour to park in the fucking meter. So when I sit there all day, it's fine, but it's, it's like, the podcast, we know it's not a big money maker, so it definitely cost me some cash, but Charlie took a $200 Uber back to Malibu, then had to come back the next day. So that's why I'm taking him out tomorrow. I got to take him for a nice meal to make up for it.
Speaking of professionalism, our camera keeps going out every time, so you can't even see us right now. But we can hear you, we can see you, and you can hear us.
But you guys got a sign. I don't have a sign like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. What's the frame on that? I don't know if you can see. We've got some.
I see it.
That's our gold artwork.
But you've got some good merch. We're still waiting for our merch. So
we've got merch coming.
We've got merch coming.
Yeah, we got merch coming.
Yeah, well, you're clearly wearing the hat, so you've got all the merch.
We're going to send you some merch, Doug.
Thank you. I'll wear it. Yeah, I mean, I was promised I was getting a Victory jersey. So
that was going to be the end of the episode, but we can do it now if you want.
No, that's all right. But Angie got me excited for it. I love it.
So I've heard. So when you're speaking on the podcast, I've heard you would love to do it every single day. So have you really delved that deep into the podcast, kind of sign of the times where you just love to do it every single day?
I just love it. I mean, listen, I was born to talk. I was not born to write. I was not born to play. I'm a pretty good athlete. I don't mean like you, but I was not born to make a living playing sports, sadly, because that's what I would have done if I could have. But I was born to talk. That's just what I always liked. And, my family used to tell me to shut up all day. But when I have the mic, nobody tells me to shut up except Connolly. But it's great,
All right. Well, we're giving the guys enough time, I think, to tee up the thing. Let's hope it's there.
Let's go.
Right? Let's see if we can hear it.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be
Weigh the good with the bad. It's time for pros and cons.
It's pros and cons time.
How's that for high-level production work? All right, so...
By the way, we don't have segments. I've been talking to Connolly for 6 months. I'm like, we need segments. Everybody's got segments.
That's because we're not good enough to ask questions for an hour. We have to figure out other things to put into place in between. All right, so this segment, pros and cons, simple. We've got 10 things, and all we need to do here is just say if you like it or don't and why. And we're just going to go through each things, 10 things, all semi-related to both of you boys.
Yep.
All right.
So whether it's a pro or a con.
Yeah, pro or con. All right. You can hit.
No, you start.
All right. I'll hit the first one. All right. This one, a bit Doug related. TV and movie remakes. Pro or con?
Con. I mean, there's been a couple of good ones, but usually I hate it.
You got to say pro because you're going to remake your own show, surely.
That's not a remake. Remake is like,
true, you're right.
When they take a similar script.
Yeah, that's true.
Good.
But like a reboot.
True. Different thing.
The right thing. I like it. I mean, to be honest, I'm excited to see some of this stuff, a Friends reunion and, when Kerr brought Seinfeld back. So I like to see these characters as they grow old. And I'm dark. I like to see the whole lifespan of people.
All right, so we're pro for the reboots and con for the remakes. What about?
I would absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to see Entourage reboot?
Always. I'm not going to put Doug into that situation because I can see he's past that.
No, we can have a go at him. Come on.
We have to do it.
I appreciate it. And like I've said, if I'm not going to go chasing people, but if HBO was interested, obviously I'd like to get everybody back together because it's just, we've been having so much fun doing this. So
we love that. All right. The next one is Kingsman making 7 movies. Pro or con?
Do you guys know about this? I mean, I'm sure
of course,
Doug knows about
of course.
it. They've slated to make another 7
I'm
movies.
pro. I love the movie. James Bond has, I don't even know how many movies, 50.
Yep.
I love almost all of them. So, Austin Powers, they could have done another 5 to me, so I think if they keep up the quality, why not?
Yeah. I love the first one. So I'd be definitely up for pros.
You're down on the second one. You were down on the second one. I felt
yeah. First one was good, wasn't it? Well, no, I liked it. I think it was one of the best. The first one was one of the best, I think, UK films in a while. And then other than The Gentleman, one of my favorite films of all time.
Of course,
UK films, one of my favorite genres.
I may watch that. What is that? The Gentleman?
The Gentleman?
Oh,
Guy Ritchie. You have to watch it.
Right. You have to see this.
Yeah.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey. It's recent. How many years?
You know what? I'm a little worried. I'm like losing my mind because I don't know how I would not know about that. So I feel like I already do, but I'm going to watch that in the next 2 days.
Yes.
Actually, Charlie Hunnam, who was in Sons of Anarchy, Green Street Hooligans.
Yes,
which is great. Have you seen Green Street Hooligans, Doug?
You know what? I haven't, but I was like on a Clubhouse. I don't know if you guys have Clubhouse out there yet, but with the producer of that, and a lot of people were talking about it. I never heard of that either. It's another one I want to watch for sure.
Charlie, one of my favorite actors. Want to get him on.
He's great.
All right. My go. This one's a good one, Doug. HBO.
I'm very pro HBO as an HBO. They did great things for me. The people that were there at the end of Entourage are not the people that are there anymore. So I don't have any animosity to HBO. I think right now, I don't want to take over the whole question because we're both in on this, but
no, go for it.
The PC culture thing, while racial inequality has to be addressed and somehow solved, I still think the revisionist history of things is very scary to me. So a place like HBO, which has always been at the forefront of artistic expression, and I'll only, talk about like Dave Chappelle is a guy who knows how to walk that line brilliantly, but we don't need disclaimers to tell us what we should think and what we should feel. And I think that I'm hoping that kind of goes away. And that doesn't mean you can't, look at a movie that was done in a certain time and place. And as a Jew, I know some of the stereotypes that I've seen depicted in movies, and I know what other minorities deal with as well. But I'm a pro HBO. I have my HBO Max. I've been watching the QAnon thing. I've been watching the Woody Allen doc. So I'm pro HBO.
Right. Ryan.
Listen, they brought us some great shows, and in my opinion, one of the best. So I can't be against that.
Sopranos.
Well, yeah. But I'm obviously a pro. I mean, Entourage, Game of Thrones. Yeah. Annabelle, who's in our booth, is making me watch after 2 years or something. Succession, which I'm a couple of.
Succession's the best show on TV right now. Right, I mean, it's not on this minute, but that's the best show. I think. I mean, it's genius.
Yeah, I love that show. And if you talk about like PC culture, I just watched the second ep. Not really a spoiler, but there's a guy whacking off in front of a window of the city overview. I mean, they ain't holding back.
I had Jordan Belfort on the podcast, who's the Wolf of Wall Street, and I was just trying to, and I'm not comparing myself to Martin Scorsese, but like, why? Because that's, Leo and Martin Scorsese is that movie which young men watch as a glorification of disgusting male behavior. Now, I love the movie. It's fucking genius. But Entourage was never even remotely close to that kind of stuff. And nobody's going back and talking about that because it's, loosely based on a true story. But Succession is genius. I'm miserable that it's not back yet. And actually, one of my directors from Entourage, who's become one of the best directors in TV, who does Game of Thrones, he does a lot of Succession. He's executive producer, Mark Mylod, who's a Brit, who's just a genius. So. Actually,
is it Jeremy Strong, who's Mark Strong's brother, right? I think
Jeremy Strong is the actor. Yeah,
and he's in The Gentleman as well. Just
okay.
Just another,
good.
Little,
he's great.
There you go. All right, number 4 here is Cameo.
Cameo, the site.
Cameo, the athlete, or celebrity or whatever app. Yep.
I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's great that people can get that kind of feedback from their fans. Now, like I've gotten a couple of requests from Cameo. Do I want to be on it? Do I want to be on an app where I'm valued at like 99 cents? Maybe, by the way, no. But I think it's amazing, and like I love that people can go ask Kevin Dillon to go give him a happy birthday message. I think it's great.
Are you on Cameo?
No, this is the first time I'm hearing about it.
You don't know Cameo?
Ooh, okay.
All right, are you on Cameo?
I'm on Cameo.
You're on you fucking be on Cameo.
I'm on Cameo and Swish. There you go.
Swish, so there's another one.
Plugs there.
Okay.
You guys should be on it. It's a good, easy way to make money if your fans like you. For me, It would just be humiliating. But
so that's what it is.
So for you, it would be all the Victory fans could pay to have you send them a video message of a happy birthday, best wishes, maybe graduation, anything like that.
Kevin Connolly paid $384 to get Kevin Dillon to say happy birthday. That's true.
That's crazy. Get on it.
Okay.
There you go. It's a pro. It's a moneymaker, so it's a pro.
It's a pro then. Yeah.
All right, the next one. This is relevant. Sneaker market, and where I'm going with this is that the first ever Yeezy prototype is going up for auction, and apparently is going to be worth at least $1 million.
Oh, geez.
Sneaker market,
So what-
pro or con?
You're asking me, am I pro or con? Well, the Entourage sneaker that we put on the show,
Yeah.
sold at Sotheby's last week for $88,000.
That is unbelievable.
So now this thing's been like sitting in a box in my house because there's 6 pair of them. So I'm pro. So
Keep it going up.
But I mean, look, I love sneakers and I love collectibles. I think what's going on right now, and Gary V, like he texted me about 6 months ago. I'm not close with him, but he texted me like, buy trading cards. And he didn't say anything else. He didn't say hello. He didn't say anything else. And I'm like, I still have the message. And I'm like, what a dumb motherfucker I am, because they have like quadrupled since he sent that message.
Well, he was in here a year and a half ago or whenever it was.
Yeah.
And he literally sat down and goes, I just went to one of the trading card stores you have here in Melbourne and bought up everything in the store. You guys should get on it. And I was like, yeah, cool story. Like, I'll think about it. Like an idiot, like an absolute moron.
Should have listened to him, mate.
I'm not meant to make easy money. I really am not. But I love sneaker culture. I love sneakers. So I'm pro.
Pro, sorry. Yes. Ryan.
Yeah, I would be pro. I mean, $1 million for a prototype use is a bit of a stretch, to be honest. But no, you can't be, as a young lad and always wanting trainers and looking for the best trainer and that. Yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, love sneakers. Pro for me too.
Yeah, I'm a big sneaker.
We know you are. I'm a big
sponsored
head to toe over here.
All right, number 6 we'll go here is Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fight.
Oh, Jesus.
So you want to go first? I mean,
Yes. I was lucky enough to meet Tyson on my stag do in Vegas.
Oh, yep.
Yes, it was quite a journey.
What a place to meet Tyson Fury in Vegas.
Yes. It was towards the end of a 4-day, what we'd call a bender.
Yep.
So I was a bit worse for wear. We managed to get into his studio where he was doing media, and what a guy. He turned to me, he was like, what's the crack? I was like, I'm a stag do, I'm getting married next week. He went, oh, fucking hell. Little advice for you. Spend all your money on fucking prostitutes and gambling. And I went, what a guy.
Probably not as good a lesson as Gary V's and the trading cards, but I like it.
Debatable.
But now me, like I saw a thing on Tyson on, I don't know, HBO Real Sports. I mean, incredible story. And I actually love the heavyweights from England. He's Irish? Where's Tyson from?
Yeah, he was based in Manchester, but yeah, they're a traveling family, so Ireland would be where they were.
The Gypsy King, right?
Yeah.
So his story is incredible. But about, I think it was like less than a month ago, someone sent me like an Anthony Joshua thing. It was like, what are you watching during COVID? And he said Entourage. So I got to go with Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's a huge.
My own narcissistic reason.
It's I don't know. I think it's going to be easily the biggest fight in UK history, I would imagine. And they're talking about maybe Wembley in July as the venue, Wembley Stadium. In
I
July.
hope I can get to that, but
yeah.
But
I wouldn't be optimistic about that.
Yeah. Well,
I just want to see it wherever it is in the world.
Yes.
I just want to see
Saudi
it
Arabia is the backup, and I think that's probably more likely because you're probably going to get over there and get whatever you want done.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the best comebacks from a knockdown of all time against Wilder, the Tyson Fury. That's going to be the biggest show of the year.
I think Tyson.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of heavyweight, especially obviously because it's big in the UK at the moment. I think Tyson, his rise and fall, I don't see how Joshua can mentally break him down and get through past him. So I'd have to go with Tyson.
You saw Tyson Fury at your Bucks bachelor party in Vegas. I saw Shane Warne. There you go. I don't know if you know Shane Warne. I don't know you who knows. You're a big cricket fan. Shane Warne, Doug, is the god of cricket in the world. Everywhere he goes, except for the US, he's literally the biggest star in the entire world, I would say.
It's so
Absolutely.
It's pretty wild when you see that stuff. When Thierry did the Entourage movie, there was like half the crew had no idea who he was, and half the crew was like embarrassingly Googling and ogling over him. And I got him to go on Twitter that day. And by the end of the day, he had I think he had 1 million followers in the day. And I was like, geez, and I'm like 15 years in, I'm at 50,000. So it's like, it is wild when you see that. But I would like to see a cricket match actually, and I appreciate all the athletes that are at the top of the game, whatever the sport is. And I just love watching people who get to the highest levels of whatever it is,
Yes. Yeah. I'd recommend whatever you do, don't pick a test match to watch. Pick a one day is brilliant.
Or 2020.
Maybe
or
like the IPL or something. I don't know, somewhere. Something that's over in 3 hours. That's Not something that takes 5 days to finish, which is what a test match is a 5 day.
5 days?
Yeah, it takes 5 days.
It sounds like baseball.
Baseball.
All right, next one. NFT art. Are we on it? Are we on this? Do we need to?
I don't have. Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to read up about it the last couple of weeks, but I would have a clue about how it all works.
NFT art.
Yeah.
Is this the digital art?
Yes.
That's right. Yes. I was. It was a very brief conversation I had at work last week, but I've not looked into it.
Yeah. Some things are selling for ridiculous amounts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying my best to comprehend it. The picture you have of Ari up there behind you, I have that gun in my garage. So what NFT art is, and it doesn't mean this would be worth anything, but they turn it into a 3-dimensional thing and then one person buys it. So, I have all these people calling me. It doesn't mean any of it will work, but pitching me on how I can make money. Now, if I could somehow turn my $88,000 sneakers into a $69 million piece of digital art, of course I'm for it, but
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen with the world, because it just seems right now we're in the Wild West.
Yep.
And, but I think it's interesting. And again, I like collectibles. I'm into that stuff, but I feel like there's a bubble that's about to pop.
Yeah. If you ever need, by the way, some garage space, we'll be happy to take that gun off you if you want.
Just about to say.
Put it up on the wall.
Yeah.
I'll sell it to you as an NFT for $1 million.
Well, I think it's a massive pro because we have a lot of artist friends. That piece was a hand-done piece by Dom Gauci, one amazing artist. Shout out to her for doing that one, and the head-on piece that we got up there as well. And that.
So that's not the actual poster. We'll ask her. Is that Dawn? Was that with the accent or Dom?
Dom, D-O-M.
Well, I would love that too. She could paint one of those. Maybe she can do the NFT of that.
Her and Danielle Weber, who we've had on, who did stuff with The Rock and Arnold Schwarzenegger. If those guys can make more money, I think they're incredibly talented. So, if you can make more money, I think it's a massive pro.
100%. Yeah. All right, we got 3 left here. 2022 Qatar World Cup. Daniel has a story behind this, but
well, I mean, yeah, pro or con, guys.
I just don't see how they can change all of the leagues to have it in November, December. I'm going to struggle to see how it will work.
Yep,
that's my only concern at the moment. I'm not going to be anywhere near it. I just want to try and watch it, but I'm confused as to how it's going to work.
Yes, because obviously the leagues will be right up and running then.
I think that there's been work or news around the fact that a lot of people are dying during the setup as well. I think and there's a human rights activist activation, whatever you call that.
So, well,
protest.
You really can't go with a pro after that.
It's hard to go with pro. And I kind of put it down as a relevance thing, and then I Googled it, and I was like, oh shit, this is a real down point.
And I didn't know that, but the day one's pilot, as it's written at the very second, opens up at that World Cup. Now, whether that will change, whether that won't, and I didn't know about the human rights stuff. So anyway, but I will still go with I'll have to go with a negative after this.
Well, let's hope it can happen, I guess, somewhere, anywhere, whatever.
Yes.
It's got to be a con because I just can't see, there was a lot of controversy as to how they got it in the first place. Corruption and this and that. And there was not even a stadium in sight. And they went, right, well, how are you going to do this in 7 or 8 years? All of a sudden, you realize how now.
Where people until they die, apparently.
The air conditioning better work real well, or the players are going to be dropping also.
Yeah, that's true. All right, 2 to go. Cristiano Ronaldo.
I'm a Messi man, so.
Oh. See, that's why I put it in. I thought you would get one. Yeah. So you're a Messi man. All right.
I'm not against him. He's absolutely, I'll have to say pro, but he's worked his absolute nuts off, and nobody can go against what he's done as top as he is. I just think Messi is just a natural ability. Ronaldo's had to work to be that best.
Yep.
Not knocking it, but I'm just, for some reason, I just always lean to Messi.
You're a Messi man. All right.
He's too pretty for me. But no, I like him, but I'm a Thierry guy, and I know that he doesn't compete, I think there's no way to knock any of these guys. Like I said, when you get to the top of your field, obviously you're doing something right. But I like Messi too.
Has he got Cristiano Ronaldo the most followers on Instagram?
Yes.
Of everyone,
yeah,
right?
I think he does. Yeah.
Like beats
of everyone on Earth.
Yeah, but it beats the Kardashians, beats everyone.
260 million or something.
Jesus
Crazy.
All right, this one's yours, Dave. So we're going to leave this one to you.
Yeah, the last one's a bit of a weird one, but it happened in the UK overnight. And Doug, so it's a bit of relevance. Doug is an animal lover, has some great dogs at home, and it's from the UK. So giant rabbits. I'll explain.
Yeah, please
explain.
Sounds like a Monty Python sketch.
So the world's largest rabbit at 1 meter and 29 centimeters got stolen overnight from the house in the UK. It was a Guinness World Record rabbit. So giant. What
are we asking?
Giant house pets.
Pro or
what are we asking? Are we for the kidnapping of this rabbit?
Just giant house pets.
I think just giant rabbits.
Giant rabbits.
Pro or a con. I think it's fucking weird.
I'm pro, and I'm against the kidnapper. I think they should fucking shoot him.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
Because it was a famous rabbit.
Good on that rabbit.
Guinness World Record rabbit in the UK.
I have to look this up.
It was from Worcestershire. Is it? Worcestershire. Yeah, there you go. I'm glad we had you in here because I didn't know, and you didn't know either. So
we would have let that one go if you weren't here.
There you go. It happened there overnight.
What do you reckon?
Right. In terms of a 1-point-something meter rabbit, absolutely not.
That's frightening.
Too big.
Huge.
I asked the question before. Do you think that thing's the fastest thing ever, or do you think it just lumbers around?
Definitely lumbers.
If you saw that thing at night, you'd freak you out. You think there's a bear going to get you or something.
Yeah.
You guys know the Monty Python and the Holy Grail sketch, right?
Absolutely. Greatest.
It's a rabbit. I mean, so I don't know. I got to check out what this rabbit looks like. I'm thinking like... and also a Princess Bride. I'm thinking about those giant rats.
If you look up giant rabbit stolen, it'll come up straight away on Google because that's what I did before.
I'm sure there's not many of them.
No.
Oh, well, that was awesome, guys. Well, that was the last one, wasn't it?
Yep, last one.
Well done, guys. Great pros and cons. So we're going to wrap this one up, Doug. It's been great having you on. Before we do, I know Ryan wants to present you. We've got a special... what a surprise, Doug. You didn't know it was coming. You go, Ryan, present that over to
you. Know what? You guys got a cut that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Look at that. I love it.
Yeah. So Victory jersey, obviously for Victory the podcast, and of course, got your name.
Thank you guys. That's awesome. That's really great.
We're going to send that over to you.
We'll get it straight over to you.
Get it over, and we should probably get one with Dillon and Connolly on the back, so that they all they have a uniform to wear. I guess
that'd be great.
We'll get on to Jeremy about that.
Yeah, we'll get it sorted. Not a problem.
I can't even get Connolly to wear the Victory merchandise that we're trying to sell. I'm like, I want to pay for the parking when I come here. Can you wear a T-shirt and maybe get a sale for us?
We can't wear ours either just because it's not organized.
Yeah, we haven't organized it yet.
Well, Doug, Matt, as always, thanks so much for having on. By the way, first time we've had a guest on for the second time.
So yes. First repeat,
thank you for being our first
I like
repeat
that.
guest.
I want to break Alec Baldwin's SNL record. So I will come back anytime. You guys are awesome. I much appreciate it. And I'm glad Australia is getting safer by the minute. Hopefully we all join you soon. So
yeah, well, you're going to be in this. You're going to be in the studio with us next. I think that's what
I would love it. I'm coming to Australia for sure soon. So, and when is the season? Where is the season at right now? Because I would love to come see a football match.
Yes, well, if you come see a football match, we're going into winter, so we play over winter, so it's nice and cold for you.
So both are
we've got about 7 to 8 weeks left of ours. So
you'd
have to make it fast.
We're round 5,
and then we're round 5 out of 23.
Right.
Plus finals.
How is Victory doing? How's the record?
We might move on.
How about you guys? How you guys doing?
We're started 1-3.
We might move on.
We've lost 2 games by under 3 points, so it's been quite disappointing so far.
Can we mix sports and like have a little competition or something?
Yeah. Well,
I want to play you in pickleball one day
So do
if I come across to LA.
well,
I'm ready. Whenever you're out here, for sure, we'll do that. So, well, thanks, guys, so much. I appreciate it.
Doug,
Thank you, Doug.
for coming on.
Yep.
And good luck
Absolutely.
with the rest
Everybody
of the pod.
be good.
Yeah,
You too.
Sounds good.
Take care.
See ya.
Cheers. And Ryan, thank you for joining us, man. That was a bit of a whirlwind. It was great.
I was just sat here for the first 20 minutes going, that's Doug.
Yeah.
You know what? The first thing, as soon as Jeremy confirmed last night, and because I was in training and he messaged me, I was like, right, okay, what's he going to talk about? What am I going to do? He was like, don't worry, it's a really relaxed chat. And as soon as I got home and confirmed it, I texted my best mate. I went, you'll never guess what I'm doing tomorrow. I went, I'm in a podcast with Doug Ellin. He went, fuck off. I went, how have you managed that? I said, don't ask. I don't really know, but there's he does a podcast called Victory, the podcast, and obviously we're Melbourne Victory, and a few lads have got in touch with him. He went, right, okay, you've got to get my name in there. Somehow you've got to get my name in it. I went, well, sure. How am I going to do that? Yeah. Why would I think about you sat at home in England when I'm here with Doug and yourselves? I was like, there's no way.
Well, you better shout him out. What's his name?
Marshall.
He's not going to give a fuck about us. But anyway, Doug says, hey.
He said he loves I got him into Entourage a long time ago. And Ari's son, Jonah, in the show.
Yes.
Yep.
He's adamant that when he has a son, he's going to call it Jonah.
Wow.
That's how much he loves it.
Yeah,
And
right.
it's
That's
like,
great.
He's probably more of a fan than I am, and I absolutely love it. So he was like, just do anything for me. Get my name in there. Do anything for me.
Well, you can let him know he's not as big a fan. I named my whole business after Head On, which is Vince's first movie. So Doug thinks we're freaks, but that's all right.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you for coming on that.
No, it's a pleasure. Anytime. Loved it. Enjoyed this.
Get you to a Bombers game. Hopefully when you're playing. Which, who knows?
Hopefully this week, next week, who knows? Yeah, we'll say come back from injury. So
We're pretty similar. I'm not. So.
Yeah. So how far away are you?
Timescale is difficult. It's a little issue with the knee.
Yep.
So Monday we were brilliant. Yesterday we're not so good.
Yep.
Today feels okay, but I've got a day off. So I'm hopefully, another couple of weeks and I can be out on the grass and pushing to get back involved. So it's difficult because I'm the worst watcher ever because I'm screaming at people and I'm trying to coach from fucking 10 rows back and I can't really affect the team. But, you try and be around the lads and encourage, but there's no other feeling to be out there and helping that way. So
yes. Well, good luck with the season because I've been to a few games and it's been pretty tough, just like our start to the season. So hopefully it goes a little bit better than what it has been.
I know we're wrapping up, but I wanted to ask you fly into Australia and Amy Park is your home ground now, and you got the MCG across the road, you got the Rod Labour across the road. What was that first time you saw that?
I stand there sometimes and I look around and I go, if players I've played with and friends back home realise where I'm stood training and where I am, they'd blow their mind because I don't think people get the concept of, you got the MCG, towers over everything and all the backdrop of the city. And I just think, I actually said to myself on Monday, I said, before I leave here, I'm just going to take a video and walk around Amy Park so I can show people back home where I was and the environment I was in and show them how blessed I was, because you probably all take it for granted that it's just there. But for somebody in England, we train on literally just 4 acres of farmland in England.
Yep.
There's nothing around you whatsoever. But here, it's like you've got people walking their dog right next to you and they can stand and watch. And
it's amazing because you're saying that, and like we and I know for 10 years playing that we go, in England, or they have these amazing pictures in the countryside and there's 20 acres or whatever. And then you're saying how good is it that we've got the stadiums all around here. So it's like, you're right. We don't appreciate it. And then the flip side, like we kind of envy you guys going, oh, they've got 10 pitches to train on and all that. Like it's just such a difference.
Don't get me wrong, that side of it, you're all private, and you're not all cutting up one pitch at the same time.
Yeah.
And you can swap from 3 or 4 pitches, and every single pitch is pristine. And I do appreciate that. I just think your backdrop is
the backdrop
is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, you train in the middle of Melbourne City, which is amazing. Yeah,
pretty rare in the world.
Yeah, it's a train in a major city.
Well, again, mate, thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome.
Absolute pleasure.
Great to meet you.
Very much.
And thanks for bringing the jersey in for Doug.
Thank you. All right, so thanks, guys, for listening to that. Thank you. A big thank you, actually, to Melbourne Victory for setting this all up. I want to give a shout out to Jeremy. I don't know who you spoke to.
Angie Young and Jeremy.
Angie Young
both,
and Jeremy.
Both killed it setting that up for us. Doug, thank you, Doug, again for coming on. What a legend.
We love him. He's a regular now. I'm going to call him a regular.
He's our only regular.
Yeah, because he wants to come on again.
Thanks to Ryan as well for coming on. It was great. Maybe get him on again as well as a regular, because there's a lot more to talk about that we didn't get to touch on. Get him to one of your games as well.
Yep.
Thank you to Colonial for sponsoring the podcast. Ryan just walked out with a slab of pale ale, and he's very excited.
He was very happy with that, wasn't he?
He's so happy with beers. He owns a pub back home.
Yes, called the Black Lion.
Had a chat about it.
Yep. And we forgot to mention that to him, which he could have spruiked it up, and we could have got some Colonial in the pub. So
should have got some Colonial in the pub over in the UK. That would have been cool for him. Well, thanks again, Colonial, for sponsoring the pod as always. And thanks for listening, guys. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. The YouTube channel is going off, David.
Yes.
So many people are viewing it.
Everyone loves to watch it.
They do love watching it. It's good. But also, podcast, if you're listening, then great. Make sure you subscribe. And if you could give us a review on Apple, it really helps us grow the pod. And if you follow us on Spotify, it also really helps a lot. And tell your friends. Let them know if you like it.
Spread the word.
Spread the word. We want to keep this growing. So thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time. You stole mine.